A mother's love for her children is unlike any other. After all, their child is a piece of them that they carry inside of them for 9 months. They say that the moment a woman becomes a mother, her child's life becomes more important than her own. That's why when Jenni Lake had to choose between her own life and her baby's just a few months before her 18th birthday, it felt like a no-brainer. But she wasn't about to leave without speaking her piece. While in the hospital, she pulled the nurse down and whispered a message to her to be delivered to comfort her family when she's gone. Jenni Lake was just your typical high school sophomore until she started experiencing terrible migraines. When her parents finally took her to get checked out, an MRI scan revealed the worst news any family could hear: she had a growing mass on the right side of her brain. Unfortunately, the situation wasn't looking good. Even having both her divorced parents by her side, Jenni couldn't help but ask the doctor. Jenni just flat out asked him if she was going to die, said her father. A couple of days later, Jenni was diagnosed with stage 3 brain tumors and 3 other ones on her spine. This was a very rare kind of cancer as it had spread through her body without symptoms. Despite being hopeful, the doctors didn't have good news. They told the team that even with treatment, she had a 30% chance to make it 2 years. Jenni took the news bravely. She didn't break down and cry or anything, explains her heartbroken dad. Not until she realized she might never be able to have children. Her mother explains, when they told her that she might not be able to have kids, she got upset. Jenni started her radiation treatments as well as chemotherapy. Things were looking up. Her health seemed to be getting better. In fact, she was even able to make it to her school prom. Despite having lost her hair, she modeled a beautiful blue dress, silver headband, and posed lovingly with her boyfriend. She was smiling again and making hopeful plans for the future. She ignored any rumors that her boyfriend only stayed with her because she was sick, and the two planned to open up a restaurant together. But fate had other plans for Jenni. Jenni relapsed. Jenni's returning cancer wasn't her only concern. Her symptoms seemed worse this time around as she had been throwing up a lot and having sharp stomach pains. A trip to the ER wound up with Jenni in tears. We could hear Jenni just bawling in her room, said her sister. Jenni had just learned that she was 10 weeks pregnant. Her recovery journey was no longer her own as there were now 2 lives at stake. This would be completely unexpected for Jenni, who was first told she would never have children as the radiation from chemo would make her sterile. It was a miracle. Now Jenni, who wasn't even her own adult yet, had to make a tough choice to save her life or her child's. Her mother recalls, "He told us that if she's pregnant, she can't continue the treatments, so she'd either have to terminate the pregnancy or continue the treatments or stop the treatments, knowing it could continue to grow again." The choice seemed clear for Jenni. She would stop the chemo so she could carry her child. Her family understood that this choice could be fatal, but they hoped that just like the tumors had shrunk before, maybe Jenni could return to treatment once the baby was born. Jenni did her best to put up a tough front for herself and her family, but the reality of her situation was devastating. Documenting her journey, she confided in a video, "Last night, I was just laying in bed and thinking about everything that was going on, and it just hit me, everything. And I don't know, it made me cry. It's hard. It's like I don't know how long this is going to last and I just want it to go away. I feel like this is holding me back from so much." The months went by and despite getting herself sicker, Jenni gave birth to a healthy baby boy. She only weighed 108 pounds. The baby's rosy cheeks contrasted with his mother's pale ones. Despite only being 18, she would never grow up herself, let alone watch her child grow up. As the doctors wheeled her into the hospital, she pulled the nurse down and whispered into her ear. She said to the nurse, "I'm done. I did what I was supposed to do. My baby's going to get here safely." The nurse later relayed the words of the teen to comfort her family. Jenni laid in her hospital bed post-birth with no regrets. She knew her pregnancy had made her weaker and had stripped her chances of survival. She was starting to lose her vision and the cancer had taken over. It was only 12 days past the birth, half spent in the hospital and the other at home, before Jenni was gone. She had sacrificed herself for her child. Jenni's family was proud of the legacy she left behind, looking at it as a sacrifice and not a tragedy. They planned to tell the child about how his mom became his hero before she passed as he grows up. Diana, holding her grandchild, states, "I want him to know everything about her and what she did." She hopes to tell him about Jenni's laugh and rebellious nature and the person she was once before the sickness took over. The child now goes by the name Chad Michael. Before she left, Jenni had stated Nathan will raise him. When the baby was born and placed before her for the final time, she whispered, "I can kind of see him." If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone who may find it interesting. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.